Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is Monday, May 23rd. I feel like I have a lot to share with you today, so I don't have notes. I just have a bunch of stuff. I hope I remember it all. If I seem scatterbrained, just bear with me, because I have stitching stuff to talk with you about, a bunch of coloring stuff, how our weekend was. So let me just try to go in order. That will probably help me get through this stuff in chronological order. So, before I even start, last week my stepfather had COVID and now my mom has it. Yeah. For my mom is 67. She's going to be 68 in October. It has affected her much worse than my stepfather. My stepfather's already fine and back to work. And he just felt like he had, I want to say, a sinus infection. My mom, on the other hand, she said if she takes like Tylenol, she feels better, but she has no taste or smell. I mean, it has really like affected her. Luckily, you know, she's retired at home, and I said, you know, you need anything, you let me know. I will come drop it off on the porch. So hopefully, luckily she's vaccinated, boosted, all that, because it probably would have been much worse for her if she wasn't, but she is really feeling it right now. So any good thoughts or well wishes for them, right? So yeah, I'm checking in with her like a couple times a day, you know, just to make sure she's all right. So that has been going on. And then Saturday. So what did we do the rest of Saturday? I don't remember. No, I didn't do, I was organizing stuff still. I have changed my mind about some things in my coloring area, so I'll have to talk to you about that. So we watched TV. We watched that was last night. We watched a 2020 Saturday night. That was pretty good. And then we watched one last night that was really good too. I don't like the 2020s where it's not quite resolved, where the person that's in prison or whatever, it's not admitted. Like they didn't admit, they think they're innocent, and you're like, you're not. I really dislike those kind. But so Sunday we had groceries delivered, and then we went to Costco. No, we didn't go to, was it Saturday we went to Costco? Yes, we did do that on Saturday. No, that was last week. Wow, the time just blurs. We went to Bass Pro Shop yesterday because Bill had to get a hook for the boat where when he's getting close to the pier, he can pull the boat in with the hook. So we went there and did that, and we had lunch at one of the restaurants in the mall. And it was a nice, I mean, hot AF. My God. It's been hot here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like in the 90s. So when we came home, he's like, what are you going to do? And because he's like, I'm going to go outside and fool with the boat. And I said, I want to organize my coloring pencils, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to put them in color family. And I used these little rubber bands because remember the thing I bought at Hobby Lobby? Well, I kind of don't like it. I'm going to use it though for my makeup brushes. That's going to work well down on my vanity. I found something really cool on Etsy that is handmade and is wooden and it turns. So I purchased that, and it will fit 105 pencils, which is fine. I mean, I only have a little less than that, so I should be good. So when that comes, I will show you. And I also bought, wait a minute, I'll have to talk about that when we get out there, because I'm going to show you something that I bought for out there. And yes, I realize that some of you are probably like, but you just got rid of so much stuff. Why are you buying stuff? I feel like the purchases I'm making, I'm really thinking about talking them over with Bill. They definitely are going to serve a purpose going forward, right? So I organized my pencils, and then I actually colored. And so I want to show you what I colored. I started one of the pages in Johanna Basford's World of Flowers. I have all of her books but the Christmas one. I don't have the Christmas one because I like them spiral bound. So here's the page I started. So I colored some of the flowers, and then I need to find a way. I either got to put a piece of tissue paper down when I'm coloring, or figure out a way to get the colored pencil dust off without smearing it, because there was like some smearing here. So I decided to make a background with the chalk pastels that I have, which are these Pebbles Classic Chalk. And so I think it's going to look really good. I mixed like purple and blue down here and then went to yellow and then light pink. So I'm going to try to do that over the whole page as I get the flowers colored. So, but I thought I did pretty good with shading and stuff. So what I decided to start doing, because let me tell you, you can watch videos and watch and watch and watch. There's a billion videos on coloring, and you can make it really, really complicated. And I thought to myself, I need to stop watching videos and just fucking color, because it's getting to the point where I'm watching so many videos and then I'm not coloring, and it's like, that makes no sense. And really, let's face it, who's going to see it but me and you guys? So it's not like I'm doing this for a contest or anything. But I colored this last night while watching the rest of the series Candy on Hulu. Holy moly, it's only 5 episodes. Good night. Like, and it makes you wonder if it really happened the way that she did, the way that she said it did. So well done. It was so good. I was just like, holy shit. But yeah, so I think that's looking very good. I'm still trying to figure out, you know, how to really blend the pencils. I mean, blend the pastels so they look really good. And someone had a question about the pastels. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to show you. It's 30 shades, this one. Now, when I looked on Amazon, this was sold out. So I don't know if you can get it somewhere else. You might be able to get it on eBay or other art stores. But if you see, it comes with 2 shades of each color. And then there are 3 little cotton applicators. It comes with this, where what you do is you just pick up a little cotton ball, dip it in there, and then, you know, go on the page. And what's nice is they have small, medium, and large cotton balls. If you're really trying to get into a small spot, you can. These are fantastic. I mean, that's all the colors I'll ever need. It really is. So, absolutely love them. And someone had asked me about this. They had a question like, where can I get that? I don't know where you can get this. Like I said, it comes with it. So, love it. Let me try to move some of this stuff here. Okay. So yeah, so I colored, but what I started to do is when I found a good, what is happening here? Oh, there's an insert that comes out. Okay, didn't even know that. When I found a good color combination, I took one of the small rubber bands and rubber banded it together. So when I want oranges, here you go. Here's 3 really good colors that fit together. And so I'm going to keep them together like that. And I did it for like blues and greens and pinks. And so I'm going to just do that. It just makes it easier to pick out color combinations, because I'm someone who took I don't want to say it was a hint, but one of the artists I watch on YouTube that colors, they said 3 shades when you want to do something, if you're really trying to shade light, medium, dark. So I'll do that. Like, there are some people that will use 6, 7 colored pencils to shade something. Fuck you. No, I'm not doing that. Like, 3 is enough. It really is. So I did that. And then one of my purchases was this vanity tray. Like, it's literally like for your bathroom. You could put like hand soaps or something on it. It's ceramic. I got it from Amazon because I wanted a tray that when I'm coloring, the colored pencils I'm using, I could keep them in here, you know, like that. So when I'm coloring, I'll keep the colored pencils I'm using. I have an eraser and then a white gel pen because I usually put accents, and then my pencil sharpener. And I have some Gamsol for blending that I'm going to put in here too. So this is very nice and it sits very well. I actually colored downstairs last night while I was watching Candy. I just put everything in actually that green bag and just carted it downstairs. It's ideal to color out in my craft area during the day when the natural light is coming through. And that's what I did on Sunday. I did color for a while on Sunday. So in speaking about coloring, and I know I canceled some patrons, I had been a patron of a couple people and I wound up canceling that to save money. I hemmed and hawed, but then wound up joining Hannah Lynn's Patreon page. And the reason why I joined it, $4.99 a month, is that you get 2 coloring pages a month that she doesn't release in a book or anything. Like, that's the only way to get them. And you also get access to her VIP Facebook group. So that's really cool. So, my throat. I wasn't thinking. I currently have a laser jet printer. Now, when you print on a laser jet, and if you add marker or colored pencil or something, the ink will smear on a laser jet. It really will. And I should have realized that, because do you remember the debacle I had with a PDF of a pattern, cross-stitch pattern I had printed out, and I thought it was my needle minder making the black mark on my fabric. No, it was the printer ink smearing where I had it like under the magnet. So, and not to mention, I also didn't realize, so someone recommended you can print, you can, but it's not going to take colored pencil well. You cannot just use regular computer paper. You need to use paper that has some kind of tooth on it, basically thicker paper. So again, doing research, looking in all my coloring groups, what paper do people use when they print out coloring pages? And what people wound up using, overall, like the most I saw was 67-pound vellum Bristol. So I bought a ream of it from Amazon. And remember, not thinking, not putting 2 and 2 together, that my LaserJet printer can't handle 67-pound paper. Just like, really right now? So Saturday night, I'm downstairs with Bill, and I was doing research on inkjet printers, because inkjet printer will print black and white, will print color, and it's ideal for printing coloring pages. Now, did I really need an inkjet printer? No. But I wanted to be able to print these 2 coloring pages a month, and it will also be beneficial if I ever want to print something in color. Sometimes for work, I want to print a document that's in color and I can't do it. Or even, now I can print a cross-stitch pattern on there, that's in color. There were plenty of those, and I couldn't do it. So now that will give me freedom in that regard. So after looking, researching what pound paper can this printer handle, blah, 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 finally, Bill was like, just get it. Just get it. I sold a bunch of stuff on eBay, so just go ahead. Plus, because we'll be using it for work, it's a tax deduction. So win-win, right? So the printer came today, and I hooked it up, and it works great. I was able to, because I have it sitting on my bookshelf in my craft area, which I will show you. And the whole reason I got a wireless one, so I can not have to have it hooked up to a computer. And it works. I printed something from my computer to the printer out there in the room. So here is the page that I really wanted to color for this month from Hannah Lynn. It's so gorgeous. And it's like called Maui Mermaid or something. And some people have really colored it amazingly, and they posted in the VIP group. So I'm looking forward to coloring that very much. Okay, I'm going to take you out there because I'm going to show you the printer, and I'm going to talk about what I bought to store my Copic markers in. Because if you remember, I had originally bought from Amazon like this black foam thing that you can stick the markers in. Well, when I did more research, people said the Copic markers did not fit. They fit loose. And when you had enough markers in there, it tipped forward. So I'm just like, I don't want that. So I hurried up and canceled that order. And then I went searching. and I found, I'm going to talk, when I get out there, I'm going to show you, I'll show you. Okay. So let me scooch all my stuff. All right. Oh, God. I can take this out there now and show you where I put this when I'm... See how there's like such really good natural light out here? Yeah. Okay. So when I am not coloring, I will put that tray right there. Now, the thing I bought for my colored pencils, it will fit here. I measured. It's like wooden tubes, and it turns on a Lazy Susan. Oh my God, it's so fantastic. This guy in Virginia makes them, so I can't wait to get that. But here is the printer. Isn't it pretty? Yeah, so I was able to clear off the top here. You know, I put my coloring books down there, and now that printer resides here for coloring pages, for whatever I want to do. Because I did not have room in my office for another printer, and I was like to Bill, I said, where the hell am I going to put this? He said, why not on top of your bookshelf out there? I went, oh yeah. Okay. So I cleared all my fabric out of here. My fabric is now in the top drawer of this brown thing. So here are my Copic sketch markers that are flesh colored, which I'm very happy I have those. So I'm looking, right, on Etsy for Copic marker organization. Because I'm like, why hasn't Copic made something? Well, they did. It's like a wire thing. But I was like, and it was expensive. Someone, when I searched on Etsy, and I about died, someone makes a wooden insert for the top of this cart for any of these carts, for any of the drawers. For that cart and for the cart that Michaels makes that is like a knockoff of this, and you put all your Copic markers in it. I like screamed and I went, and people loved it, and they showed pictures where they had all the markers in it, and I'm like, I gotta get it. It was $50. Bill was like, how much is it? I'm like, 50. He's like, ooh. I said, but I've never seen anything like it. So that shipped today. When I get that in and I can organize all my markers in it, I will show you guys. I think it's going to look so awesome. So when I color and I want to use markers, I'll just have to do this. Just wheel the cart around right next to me. Yeah. So that's going to be so very cool. And why is that not sitting right now? Yeah, it's going to be so very cool. So, you know, I'm hoping that this is like the final organization of my coloring area and all of that, because let me tell you, I've spent so much time organizing that it's like it's taking away. I'm not coloring. I'm not stitching. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like you can get too wrapped up in, let me get this set. You can get too wrapped up in organizing and doing all that instead of like creating, right? Okay. But yeah, that's going to be some fun stuff. Fun coloring stuff. I enjoyed it very much last night coloring. Okay, stitching. I did stitch this morning because I really wanted to start the new pattern and wait till I show you. All right, so I used my sprocket printer. Man, I got gadgets out the yin yang, don't I? All kinds of printers. Okay, so I used my sprocket printer to, and why is that sticking to that page? That's annoying. Something is sticking. Oh, it's like adhesive on there. Get off of there. Okay. Remember my blood type is coffee page that I did. So I did this, I bought a like digital scrapbook page on Etsy. They have tons of them on there. And I decided to print it in the tile where it prints 4 pieces of it, makes the image 4 pieces, because I wanted it a bit bigger. So then I just printed that out on my printer and turned it into a sticker and stuck it on there. So the pattern is my blood type is coffee. The designer is Helen's Crossing on Etsy. I said fabric was 14 count pink frost perforated paper, called for DMC plus RG petite treasure braid, because I used petite treasure braid for them. But didn't it turn out good? I really love that printer. The Sprocket printer is so cool. And then I also found a spot to put Bill's birthday card to me, because I really wanted the birthday card in the journal. So I just turned it into a sticker. And, but yeah, so it opens up. Yeah, I just turned it into a sticker and stuck it on that page. Absolutely. So the junk journal is fantastic. And it's turning out very, very well. So I stitched this morning because I haven't stitched in a couple days. And I wanted to have something to show you guys so I can talk about the 18 count perforated paper I got from 123 Stitch. And it's fantastic. I'm really going to love stitching on this paper. So let me find something to... I'll use my DMC color card. So remember, I am stitching, it is the But First Hot Cocoa pattern from Daily Cross Stitch. And I can't show you the pattern because I don't have a cover page for it. It's the pattern. But I am stitching it on 18 count white perforated paper that I bought from 123 Stitch using DMC, and I'm only using one strand. It's going to look so fantastical. Yes. I don't know why it's like, why is it doing that? It looks really weird in the viewfinder. But it is going to look, is it because I'm doing it like that? Is it because this is glossy? Maybe. All right, let me just try to, oh, let me do this. I'll just hold it up against this. Yeah, that's better. It is going to look so good, I think, when I'm done. I really enjoyed stitching with one strand, and I really enjoyed stitching on this paper. Now, this washi tape is not black. It's actually a dark blue. I don't know why it's showing up black. There, it's kind of blue. This is a needle minder I made myself. I also did my nails yesterday. I bought like a bunch of felt pieces that were coffee themed, and I just put a small magnet on the back, so it was very quick and easy. But yeah, absolutely loving the 18 count paper. I'm so glad that whoever suggested it to me and said that they had it, 123 Stitch, thank you, because I had no idea that they had that 18 count paper. And I have like 7 or 8 packs of it, so I have quite a bit. And I wanted to show something that I've used. I did a video on this before. This is a stitch guide. Now, I bought this from Blue Ribbon Designs on Etsy, and it came with this fabric cover for it. But if you look, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch. So what you do, because I wanted to go in 1 inch on this, you set it on the corner. See where the 1 inch is? If you put that in the corner, you would start, wait a minute, let me show you. If you were going to start 1 inch in, you make sure the square for 1 inch is up in the corner. And then you would start it wherever the bottom is where you would start. Is that right? Yes. Well, I had to count over because this B, like the coffee cup comes out here. So the coffee cup is actually on the far edge of the pattern. And then if you wanted to do 2 inches, you just move it down to the 2 inch one. So 2 inches would be right there. And then 3 inches is the entire thing. So if you do 3 inches, it's right there. This has been a lifesaver where it has just been, wait, I don't have to measure. Fantastic. Yeah, I did a whole video on it in my cross stitch tutorials thing. I'm pretty sure I did. But I don't know if she makes them anymore with the fabric covers. It's fantastic. I mean, I've had this for years. I mean, it's been easily probably 8, 9 years. I mean, I've had this a long time. And then I had someone ask me what needles I use. Like, what needles do I use for 14 count, 16 count, 18 count? Doesn't matter. I use different size needles. The biggest indication of how you can tell, you don't want a needle that's so small that it's slipping through your fabric, but you don't want a needle that's so fat that it's distorting the threads in your fabric. So it's almost like your Goldilocks, you know, you're trying to find that right needle size. What I have found is 14 count fabric. I always use a size 24 needle. That works very well. 16 count fabric, I will use a size 26, maybe a 24, but usually a 26. And then on 18 count fabric, I will most likely use a size 28 needle. And especially on hand-dyed fabric, because on hand-dyed fabric, the holes have even shrunk even more, which 18 count fabric that is hand-dyed is probably closer to 20 count, believe it or not. So 28 is the thinnest that you're getting as far as your needle size. Perforated paper. So on this is 18 count. I'm using a size 26 needle and it's working out fine. The needles I love and use now and just recently are these pony black needles. So I got these from, I will link them in the description box. It's a website. I bought all the sizes. They had 24, 26, 28. I really love them because first of all, you can see them. You can see, look, so the bottom is black and the head of it is white. And they just glide like butter. I just really like them. So those are the needles that I use now. But yes, it does matter. Different fabrics take different needle sizes. And like when I do needlepoint where it's 18 count mono canvas, I will use a size 20 or 22 needle because you need to almost, because the canvas is different than fabric when you're doing needlepoint, you need to open up the hole to pass through the threads because the threads for needlepoint 9 times out of 10 are much thicker because you're using like Karen watercolors, which is almost like pearl cotton, or you're using DMC pearl cotton. All of those are much thicker than DMC thread. So you need, plus you would never be able to thread a Karen watercolors through like a thin tapestry needle. You need a 20 or a 22. And there are guides out there that talk about all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, I'm self-taught as far as needlepoint and counted canvas. I just did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos. And if you ever get a Needle Delights Originals pattern, she gives explicit, detailed instructions that are probably the best instructions I've ever read anywhere on a pattern. Okay. So there's that, but I loved how that bee turned out on the pattern. And remember, I picked colors that were different than the pattern. The blue they picked was darker. I just love 996 is what I'm using. Absolutely love those electric blues in the DMC line. And then the coffee cup is going to be 3371, which is a very pretty chocolatey brown, almost black. And then the words hot cocoa are going to be in DMC 433. And like I had talked about before, I had considered using color variations, but I just couldn't find ones that I like. And you don't always have to have everything like bold and variegated. Plain DMC looks just fine. So yeah. So I'm hoping to do some more stitching today. Hoping. We'll see. All right. So we are going to now do, I was going to do a true crime story, but this video is already almost a half hour. So, and I got to get it processed and all kinds of stuff. So we are just going to do a motivational story, which is, oh my God, I have a good story for you though. Okay, before I do the motivational story. Oh, let me tell you, of all the lip balms, the colored lip balms that I bought with my Sephora gift card, the absolute best one, and I have this on right now, is the Yves Saint Laurent. Is that how you say that? It is there. It's in this case. And the color payoff is amazing. This one is, look how bright that is. It's really nice. And it feels really good on the lips. It really does. The only thing I wish it had is SPF. And this color I got is, it doesn't say it. It's like a coral though. And the case is gorgeous. They have a lot of different ones, and I guarantee you the color payoff is amazing for all of them. It's like $37. I know that's cuckoo, right, to pay for a lipstick. But I have a feeling this is going to last me a long time, so wanted to say that. Okay, so story time. I know that we've all gotten spam text messages, right? I know I have. So you're going to die. Bill got this text message last week and he marked it as spam, and then he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me until later. So we're sitting there on Wednesday or Thursday of this week watching TV, and he gets this voicemail. It's, first of all, it's a number that he doesn't recognize, so he lets it go to voicemail. They leave a message. Now, he listens to the message, and he doesn't tell me what it says because he puts it up to his ear, right? And he's like, listen to this message and tell me what you think. So I listened to it, and it says, hey, John, this is Nancy. I don't know what the names were, but it was a woman calling for a man. Hey, John, this is Nancy. I've been trying to get a hold of you via text, but I haven't heard back from you. And I'm hoping you're still going to be able to teach the Master Gardener class tonight at 5 o'clock. I hope to see you there. We have all the material. She just went on and on and on. And the voicemail message stopped, and I looked at him. We busted out laughing. I said, this poor woman thinks that you're John. I said, he said, and oh my God, she messaged me. That was the same woman. She messaged me earlier in the week, and I thought it was spam, and I just marked it as spam. I said, you have to message her back right now and say, you have the wrong number. But we were laughing so hard because now the joke is when he's going to go do something, he says, I'm going to go teach my Master Gardener class. Oh my God. But I said, that poor woman. And she wrote him back like a little while later. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I figured it out that, oh my God. Can you imagine? They were expecting this person to show up to teach the Master Gardener class. And I hope that guy showed up. I was like, what? Fuck. Like, we were dying. I'm telling you, stuff always happens to us. We always have so many stories. Master Gardener. So, Bill's a Master Gardener now. Yeah. All right. So, motivational story. This one is called Laziness is Your Enemy, as is Pride. Now, this is the story of the turtle and the hare, and this has been told many different versions, many different times. We've all heard this story, but I want to see how they tell it, right? So it says, this story has been told and retold over the ages, but is certainly a story that will teach your child an important lesson that will stay for life. You can stick to the classic or make your own version with different variables that will nonetheless impart the valuable lesson that your child needs to learn. The hare is not only a beautiful little creature, but it's known for its speed and cleverness. Turtles, on the other hand, are amphibians that are more down to earth and, of course, slower in all aspects of life. One fine day, the hare bragged and came up with the idea of holding a race with the turtle. The turtle agreed, and the race begins. The hare managed to get a good lead over the turtle because he was an excellent runner. However, such was the ego of the hare that it not only goes way ahead of the turtle, but also decides to take a nap at some distance just before the finish line. Such was the ego of the hare that he was convinced he would easily win even if he slept for some time to rub it in. The turtle, on the other hand, was far slower than the hare. However, he keeps up with the race with determination and without cutting corners. The turtle managed to reach the finish line just as the hare was waking up. He nevertheless won the race, even though he was a far slower runner than the hare, and he didn't even rub it in the hare's face. So the conclusion, as long as you are steady and determined, you will always win no matter what your speed is. Laziness is your enemy, as is pride. And what have I always said? A lot of people in stitching groups will be like, how do you get this stitch so fast? I can't stitch that fast. It's not a race. It really isn't. People have more time. They devote more time to it. I know someone who doesn't get on Facebook or watch TV. Literally all they do is stitch. So boy, are they going to get a lot of stuff done, right? And the same thing with reading. I don't know if I told you, but I thought I had read 20, I don't remember, but I've read 32 books already this year. Let's go! 32? And we are not even halfway through the year yet. So there are people that have already read like 100 books or some cuckoo crazy number, right? And people are like, oh my God, how do you read that much? Well, it's not a race. It's not a race. Basically, for my challenge, it's me competing with myself. I read 51 books last year. I set a goal this year of 60. I am 9 books ahead of schedule right now. So I really try not to compare or compete with other people in that regard. It's not a race, but determination. So I want to come back to my friend Debbie from New York. And I may use her in an example all the time because this is perseverance and patience will get you to the finish line. She finished His Eyes on the Sparrow. Is that what that piece? It's giant. I mean, it's like a bed sheet. She finished that, and she finished something else that was really big. She takes care of her mom, who is, I want to say 90. I know she's 90 or higher. And she's fairly ill, so Debbie is taking care of her. And she also works a full-time job, so she's got her plate full. And she was finding that she wasn't getting enough stitching time or being able, there were just days would go and she wouldn't stitch. So she wound up carving out time in the morning, and I want to say it's a half an hour, 20 minutes. That's how she finished that big piece. Perseverance. Yeah. Debbie did it. She finished it. She dedicated 20 minutes, a half hour a day for like 6-7 months. And that may seem way too long for some people, but if you start a coloring project, a stitching project, if you devote even 10 minutes a day, eventually you will have it done. Yes, you will. So, well, let's not be the Hare who was basically an asshole because he was rubbing it in the turtle's face. I'm faster than you. I can win even if I take a nap. Well, no, you didn't. See, the turtle, much nicer. A good sport. He didn't rub it in the Hare's face even when he won. Right? Okay. So today's Unfuck Ourself entry. Good tear. That was a good tear. A tremendous amount of amazing discoveries were made by accident, not by plan. Try something, and if it doesn't work, try something else. Absolutely. You know, that's why when I'm trying to organize like my coloring section, I had a feeling like if I bought something, it might not work. I might not like it over time. Sometimes it's really about just honing it, right? Trying something different, trying this different. Eventually you will hit upon something that works. So I never come down on myself about changing the way I stitch, changing the way I color, changing something, because that's how really good things are discovered. It's true. So I'm going to end this here. I hope you guys are all having a good Monday, a good start to the work week. For some of us, some people work weekends, so it's not their start, but it's the start for me. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Almost 38, well, a little over 38 minutes of your time with me today. For subscribing, for watching, for all the comments I get. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.